Okay, we got another break-even problem here, and this is AnheuserBusch InBev companies, and this is their some operating information. They have sales of $47 billion, big dollars, and cost of goods sold is $18,756. Selling general and administrative expenses are $12,999 for operating income from operations of $15 billion 308. Okay, so in addition, assume that they sold 400 million. So I'm going to put a column here for units, and this is going to be 400. I'll just say million. If I say 400, and that's in the same currency, sort of, you know. Assume that variable costs were 75% of the cost of goods sold. Okay, so it's times 75%. That would be 18,756. That gives me 14,067. Is variable cost, and that would mean that 25% would be fixed. So 8 minus 18,756, 46.98. And always look at it and make sure that it sort of makes sense. I've got 18,000, that looks good. 50% of selling general administrative expenses were fixed and variable too. So I'll do this, and then we'll take the selling general and administrative expense times 50%. So that would be like 499.5. We'll just call it 65. Of course, these are in millions, so pretty soon we're talking real dollars, right? You know, I think I'm going to make it what it's 60. Could make just fudged it a little bit. We'll call it 6499.5. Okay. Assume that the remaining costs are fixed. So that would be variable, and then another 50% would be fixed. We're good. That's all we've got, yeah. The following year, assume that Anheuser-Busch InBev expects pricing, variable costs, and fixed costs to remain constant, except that new distribution and general office facilities are expected to increase fixed costs by 300 million. Okay, that's a big increase, isn't it? So what happens? Compute the break-even number of barrels for the current year. Note, for the selling price per barrel and the variable cost per barrel, round to the nearest cent. Also present the break-even in millions of barrels. Okay, so for the first one, we're going to compute break-even. We've got sales. How many? They don't tell us what we have for volume here, do they? Oh, 400 million barrels of beer. And those numbers are in millions. So our we're going to take sales. Well, for break-even, we'll take fixed costs and divide it by our break-even number of barrels, so that's units, divided by the contribution margin, right? So our fixed costs are, I'm going to put a little calculation over here. Fixed costs are $46.98 and $64.99. Oops. $64.99.5. So our total fixed cost is $11,197.50 or 0.5. Okay, that's our total fixed cost. Now, what's our contribution margin? If we've got sales of, let's do a nice grid here. I'm going to put down total, well, probably units first, and then a total column, and then a percent. All right, and when I do cost, volume, profit problems, I do them this way all the time, because if I'm given a lesser amount of information, I can fill in the blanks and, you know, I'll have everything that I need. So first of all, we've got sales. And our sales are 400 million units. We'll just do these in millions, okay? And our net sales are 47,063. And remember that sales are always 100%, because a sale includes cost plus profit, right? Our variable costs, we didn't figure those out yet. So the variable costs will be 14,067 plus 6499.5. 14,067, oops, plus 6499.5, 2055, 566.5. Okay, so variable cost, we still have the same, I don't know, that's sales. For variable costs, we'd still have the same number of units. Let's put down our total costs here. 566.5, and see what the percent of sales is. Everything is always the percent of sales. So 2566.5 divided by 47,063. That's 43.7%. Okay, that's their cost percentage. So their contribution margin, okay, if I take 47,063 minus 2566.5, 26,496.5. Okay, if I divide that by 47,063, I get 56.30. Well, yeah, that's right, 56.3%. And if I add these up, okay, they sum to 100%, so I'm good. All right. So we've got, this could be a unit price maybe, you know, not so much units. If we had a selling price per unit, let's say per unit here. But we don't, and we didn't need it, so it doesn't matter. But this is a good graph to use, or a good schedule, because what it does is it puts everything in order, and the relationship between these numbers stays the same. Okay, whether it's per unit or total, it's the same as these percents. So now we can take our fixed costs, our 11,197.50, and divide that by our contribution margin. What's our total? We don't have a unit contribution margin, so we're going to have to divide it by, oh no, you know what they want us to do? They want us to take, they said they had 400 million barrels of beer. So if I take 47,063 and divide it by 400, that gives me per barrel a selling price of 117.7. Okay? And for our cost, 2566.5 divided by 400 barrels, 400 million, it gives me 51.4. So our contribution margin per unit would be 117.7 minus 51.4, 66.3. Okay? Alright. So now I got my fixed cost divided by my contribution margin per unit. $66.30 is what they're making on each barrel of beer. That's what that means. That means that our break even in terms of units, 1197.5, divided by 66.3 is, no, this is wrong. 1197.5. No, 11197.5 divided by 66.3. 168. Our break even is their break even. 168.9 million barrels of beer. Okay. Oh, we're right. There's a deal. And then the next question is, of all the nerve, anticipate the anticipated break-even number for barrels the following year when they spend that extra $300,000. So what would happen is we can take a shortcut here. Nothing else changes. So again, it's going to be fixed costs. I put a little U there for contribution margin per unit. Okay, versus contribution margin ratio. My fixed costs are going to be 119. I'll see, I did it again. 197.50 plus 300 million divided by 6630. Okay, so 11197.5 plus 300. I goofed. 300 equals divided by 66.3 gives us 173. It doesn't really make that much difference. 173.41 or 42. 173.4. That would be this is million barrels to break even. Okay, and that's what this is. So it goes up a little bit because our fixed cost increased. Well, I beat this to death. Okay.